Okay, so the story with Steve starts back maybe about 2 months ago. I'm not sure if you saw this, but he put out a video, a message to millennials, to people like me who were children when Blue's Clues was first on. And, in the video, it's probably 2 minutes short. He's kind of just saying, hey, I know things are tough right now. Our lives have changed a lot, but everything that I taught you on that show is helping me. And, it's clearly helping you. Look at everything you've done. It was a really nice, heartwarming message. He doesn't have the hair anymore, so he wore this hat that was similar. So I was like, once I saw that, I was like, okay, first of all, immediately share this. I love this. And then next I was like, that's what I'm doing for Halloween. Halloween was like a month away. Went on Etsy, I got the shirt. I found the same hat someone had made. And so I was like, okay, perfect. Easy costume, got it. Made the, and then I made the little paw print mask, which is easy, but it's like a nice little touch for things like that. I'm really big on like tiny touches that for costumes that really make it like a complete feeling. An example of that, I was actually Steve one other time in my life. 10 years ago, actually, I went to New York Comic Con with my girlfriend at the time. We were Steve and Blue, Blue being the dog. And that costume was far worse than the one I wore this year. But I remember the extra touch I did for that year was I had made a little paw print stamp that said NYCC on it with a little paw print. And so whenever anyone came up to take a picture with us, I would take out the stamp and put it on their hand. And so it'd be like, if you haven't ever seen the show, you find Blue's Clues, you find the clues because Clue will leave a paw print, or Blue will leave a paw print, I should say, on it. So it was like giving them, now they're a clue because they were, a part of our thing. So that was that costume. Cut to Halloween this year. People who had seen the video or who really got it, fucking loved it. I was like, this is cool. I'm glad I did this. It's great. And then a couple nights ago, I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard. I was leaving a job that I've been doing. Where I am like a curator at this museum of movie memorabilia. It's cooler than it sounds. And so I'm leaving work, which it's right on Hollywood Boulevard, and I see this guy, a couple people in front of me. I'm like, that guy looks like Steve Burns. I was like, if I can get close enough to hear his voice, I could be sure. So we actually, as luck would have it, we get stuck at a cross intersection together, and I'm hearing him talk, and I just turn to him like, hey, are you Steve Burns? He's like, yes. It's like, I was just you for Halloween. And he's like, really? And it was like him and his date were there. And I was like, would you mind if I take a photo with you? He's like, of course, let's do it. Yeah, so I hand my phone to, I guess, his date that evening. And they take the photo, and she's like, you got to tell us about this costume. It's like, I'll do you better than that. I'll show you the costume. Pull up the photo that I sent on there. I showed it to them. Like, oh my God, that's great. And he's like, they're like astounded that it looks so nice. They love the mask. They love everything. And they're like, where did you get that shirt? Because, it's not a commonly found shirt. And I was like, well, I don't know where you got yours, but I found mine on Etsy. We had a little chuckle about that. And then I thanked him for making the message to millennials videos because it did affect me. Struck a chord, as I would say. Unlike a lot of media that I've seen this year, that actually did hit me pretty hard. And I also thanked him for this story that he told. I told him I liked the story that he told on the Moth. Which is a radio hour podcast thing that's sometimes on like NPR type stations. So he told a story about about 10 years ago about being fame-ish, but not famous. Yeah, and so we had just this little interaction about that, very brief. And then I was like, "What? How crazy are the odds for this?" Because I meet essentially micro celebrities to medium celebrities all the time at wrestling, but that's not out of the course of what might happen. Meeting a niche micro celebrity, like 2 weeks after I dressed up as him just randomly on the street in a city he doesn't live in, and it happens to be right near where I work, and then I left at the right exact time, that's just wild. So that's kind of the long story of that.
Thanks for listening. You look great, by the way. Whatever it is you're doing, it's working.